Daniel Silke is a political analyst. He's on the line to us from Cape Town this evening. And a big story in today's business media, Daniel Silke, all about Gwede Mantashe tearing a strip of COSATU and saying if you don't come back into line, you are running the risk of falling foul of our cozy tripartite alliance. Is the tripartite alliance finally in some kind of serious political trouble?
Well, hi, Bruce. Yes, I think that there is a degree of consternation here within the alliance. Look, it hasn't taken long before the so-called unity that was displayed last year at both the COSATU Congress and at Mangaung to start to fray at the edges. But I think the bottom line here really is that the Zuma administration, together with, of course, the new deputy head of the ANC, Ramaphosa, are absolutely dead set on implementing as much as they can of the National Development Plan. And I think there may well be a view that certain elements within the union movement are obstructionist in this particular issue. There are ideological divides within the trade union movement as there are across the alliance. And these ideological divides are now starting to come up against implementing a set of fairly distinct policies in the NDP. And I think that's what we're seeing playing out.
So but that's the first of 5 reasons why the relationship between COSATU and the ANC, in your view, is on the rocks. But also, it might not necessarily be a problem with the unions themselves. Perhaps this is Zwelinzima Vavi, who's under a huge amount of not only political pressure from the ANC, from that part of the alliance, because he has not been that Zuma friendly, but also from within his own ranks. He has faced all sorts of terrible allegations and accusations.
Well, that's also true. You know, these allegations now have come to the fore after Mangaung and after this last year of acrimonious fights between Vavi and the ANC. Strange timing as it might be, that suddenly, of course, Vavi is being vilified by certain elements within COSATU. But I certainly think that the ANC needs a supportive trade union movement. It needs a trade union movement to very often do its bidding when it comes to mustering up voters at election time. And it's not in the ANC's interest to alienate the trade union movement. It might be in the ANC's interests to alienate those obstreperous elements within the trade union movement. And I think perhaps, again, that's my second reason as to why I think we're in for a degree of trouble in the relationship.
And also the affiliates, COSATU affiliates, are under a huge amount of pressure themselves. We saw the reaction that Zwelinzima Vavi took at the end of last year to go and try to convince COSATU members, NUM members in particular, with the rise of AMCU, to stay within the fold, be loyal to the broader trade union movement.
You see, COSATU has got an added problem, and the added problem is actually poor government delivery, or poor delivery from the broader ANC government. If this delivery continues to be poor, if social services continue to be poorly applied, ordinary workers feel the brunt of this. Ordinary workers feel the brunt of high utility costs, Eskom, fuel price hikes, etc. And in a strange way, this also plays itself out back into the bargaining council process, workers demanding more, higher than average wage, inflation wage increases. And of course, if COSATU affiliates can't provide this, a radicalization of the unions take place, of the workers take place. So in a strange, there's this strange relationship, I suppose, between inefficiencies in government and a workforce increasingly obstreperous as well.
And also, anybody who's ever been at the receiving end of a telling off by Gwede Mantashe will tell you that he's terribly good at doing it. He is a terribly strong, charismatic individual. He's terribly good at cajoling people. And if you don't listen to his first cajoling, he ups the ante. And part of what I read into what his comments, Gwede Mantashe's comments to COSATU in this morning's newspapers was that, I'm beginning to get heavy with you and I will get heavier if you're not careful. This is him playing sort of chief whip role, isn't he, for the tripartite alliance?
Well, the question may be asked really, is this a watershed moment for the alliance? Is this a watershed moment where the importance of the trade union movement as one of the 3 key pillars in the alliance starts to weigh in to some degree? And is Mantashe, together with Zuma, together with Ramaphosa, together with the manual moderate or centrist within the ANC, are they working towards this? I think one of the most interesting quotes from the COSATU meeting yesterday was when Vavi spoke about the working class and the interests of the working class needing to be protected, and Mantashe simply retorted, look, the ANC is a party across classes. It covers all the classes within South Africa, and we'll do things that you're not going to like. He was quite blunt about that. I think the ANC has moved with the NDP into a more middle class, into a more market-oriented wanted vogue or milieu, if you want to say. And it's not surprising to me that the leftists or the workerists in particular are the ones who are going to stand up.
And ultimately, the ANC, which has been a very divided church, or maybe a multi-headed church, or a church, the ANC provides a political home for many people with different views, is becoming more centred once again. It's becoming, in the days of Thabo Mbeki, the government knew what it was. ANC knew what it was. It had a very firm centrist stance. It's becoming more centrist once again, one feels, and perhaps that's uncomfortable for elements of the alliance.
I think so, and I think we're going to see these political cleavages or differences emerge as real issues are discussed, as we move away from this sort of post-liberation euphoria, which somehow lasted more than a decade or two within South Africa, to tackling these real hard issues as our economy stutters and as government delivery falters. I think that it's hard-nosed policy choices that are going to be the defining features of our politics into the future, and perhaps we're just normalizing. I've always believed this. We're just normalizing into a real a more competitive political environment where there is a more centrist, moderate wing of the ruling party together with other opposition parties versus a more leftist or workerist wing, some of them still within the ANC at the moment. And I think we're maturing into a broad-based two-party or two-ideology system in South Africa. It's going to take some years to really mutate into that, but we're at the initial stages of it.
And back to the first point, is this the beginning of the end of the tripartite alliance, or is this just Gwede Mantashe doing what Gwede Mantashe does best, and that's pulling everybody back into line to say, listen, guys, this is the way it works. This is the way the alliance works, and let's not remind you of on which side your bread is buttered.
I'm not sure that the alliance is about to split at all at the moment or change its character, certainly for the moment. It's going to have to undergo a fairly rigorous series of electoral tests next year and then in 2019. And I think it's those electoral tests that will determine whether the alliance is cohesive and holds together. And I think electorally, that's going to be the test of whether this alliance holds together. For the moment, the ANC needs COSATU. COSATU certainly needs the ANC coattails. But I think the ANC is going to make life very difficult for those that are obstructionists to the implementation of the NDP and other policies.
Daniel Silke, the independent political analyst, thank you very much. Before we go to Eyewitness News,